Everyone is talking about putting AI to work, but inside big companies, that conversation sounds a little different. It's a lot more cautious. They're looking at these incredibly powerful new AI tools and asking some really tough questions. So, how do you even begin to evaluate a new AI coworker? Let's dive in.
So imagine this, an AI that doesn't just answer questions, but actually gets to work on your documents. It's building your presentations, it's automating your reports. I mean, the promise is huge, right? But with all that power comes a massive question mark. Is it safe? Can you really hand over your sensitive work without creating a total security nightmare? And that's the big tug of war happening inside businesses right now.
And yeah, this really lays out the two sides of that coin perfectly. On one side, you've got the incredible promise, a massive boost in efficiency, getting rid of all those tedious tasks that just suck up your day. But on the other side, well, that's the peril. The risk of leaking confidential data, opening up new doors for security breaches, and honestly, just getting into a big mess with compliance rules. It is a very high-stakes balancing act.
So here's our game plan for breaking this all down. We've kind of set the stage with the core tension. Next, we're going to look at a case study of an AI that's actually designed to be safe, using something called a sandbox. Then we'll check out its 3-layer defense system and walk through 5 critical questions every company really needs to ask before they let an AI agent in the door. And finally, we'll get to the verdict.
Okay, so let's get specific and dig into a case study. The tool that was evaluated is called Claude Cowork, and its big selling point isn't just what it can do, but how it does it. The whole design is built around this core concept of security.
Right, so this is the crucial thing to get. This is not just another chatbot you talk to in the cloud. It's an AI agent that actually lives right there on your desktop. Its entire reason for being is to handle complex, multi-step jobs on your actual files, your Word docs, your spreadsheets, your PDFs. It's built to be a true blue digital coworker.
And how does it do that without causing chaos? Well, this is the key. It runs inside what's called a virtual machine sandbox. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the analogy here is just perfect. Think of it like a secure playpen for the AI. You put the AI inside this digital box on your computer, it can play with all the toys you give it, but it absolutely cannot climb out and start wandering around the rest of your system. And this visual just nails the idea, doesn't it? All of that AI power, its ability to create and process information, is contained. The sandbox creates this hard barrier between the AI agent and your main operating system, your network drives, or any file you haven't explicitly said, hey, you can touch this. That containment, that's the whole game. But the sandbox is really just the first line of defense. This system is actually designed with a 3-layer defense model to manage all those risks we were talking about earlier. Okay, so layer 1, that's the VM sandbox we just covered, total isolation. Layer 2 is something called the principle of least privilege. All that means is even inside its playpen, the AI can only touch the specific files or folders you give it permission to. So if you want it to work on a report in your projects folder, that is the only thing it can see. And layer 3 is a defense against hijacking. If the AI is asked to do something potentially risky, like, say, deleting a file, it has to stop and ask you, a human, for manual confirmation. Now, what's really fascinating about this whole evaluation is how it frames the decision-making process. It's not just about cool features. It's about passing this gauntlet of 5 red-line questions that get right to the heart of corporate risk. All right, first and foremost, the big one. Is this thing going to be a security hole? Could it get access to confidential info, or worse, give an attacker a way into our network? And the answer is a cautious yes, it passes. Because it runs in that isolated sandbox, it physically can't get to unauthorized resources. But, and this is so important, look at that note. This does not eliminate the risk completely. What it does is make the risk controllable. The point isn't to claim that leaks are impossible, it's to show you have a system to actually manage that possibility. Question 2 gets into a really sneaky, modern threat, prompt injection. This is where a bad actor tries to hide a malicious command inside a document or an email to trick the AI into doing something it shouldn't, like, for example, sending private data to some random address on the internet. And again, it passes, and it's all thanks to that layered defense. Any high-risk action needs a human being to click OK, and certain things like messing with sensitive financial operations are just hard-coded as off-limits, period. But again, look at that honest assessment. The note makes it clear. This doesn't mean the AI is foolproof and can't be deceived. It's about mitigation, not magic. This is a huge one. This is the fear that every confidential report, every strategy doc, every customer list you feed into this thing is going to get vacuumed up by the vendor to train their next big model, basically exposing all your secrets to the world. For enterprise customers, thankfully, the answer is a very clear no. And this is where the lawyers and the contracts come in. The vendor explicitly promises in writing not to use your data for training. They give you a formal data processing agreement, a DPA, that's legally binding and compliant with standards like GDPR. And they don't store your data long term. This is an absolutely critical step for building trust.
So the next logical question is, if this tool is so smart, can we just kind of hand over the reins, let it start making important business decisions for us automatically? The evaluation is really firm on this one. Absolutely not. This tool is positioned as an auxiliary tool. It's there to help you prep documents and make processes more efficient. It is explicitly not designed to replace human judgment or take over decision-making. Think of it as an assistant, not a manager. Okay, finally, let's get down to brass tacks. We've established the risks seem to be manageable, so what's the game plan? How do you actually roll something like this out responsibly?
Well, you definitely don't just flip a switch and give it to everyone. The recommendation is super clear. You start small. You run a pilot program on a low-risk, non-essential business function. And before you even begin, your security and compliance teams have to do their own deep dive risk assessment. You also need to write a clear, acceptable use policy so everyone knows the rules of the road. And you have to have systems in place for logging usage and reviewing it regularly. It's all about governance. Which brings us to the final verdict of this whole evaluation. After looking at the promise, the perils, the protections, what's the ultimate conclusion here?
And this is it. Honestly, this single sentence might be the most important takeaway from this whole thing. No one is pretending that using this kind of powerful AI is risk-free. That risk doesn't just vanish into thin air. But, and this is the key, with the right architecture and the right policies, it can be seen, it can be controlled, it can be governed.
And so we come full circle, back to this powerful image. The real goal of enterprise AI, at least right now, isn't to unleash some all-powerful, sentient being. It's to take this incredible new capability and very carefully, very deliberately, put it to work inside a well-defined, secure, and governed box. So as you think about what this means for your own organization, the real takeaway is to reframe the entire conversation. The question probably isn't, should we use AI anymore? The real and much more productive question is this: how will we govern it?